We've put together a short but quite instructive webinar, and it's basically a summary of our thoughts on the current economic situation, how it may affect markets in the future. Although this investor underperformance and drag, as we saw in the last slide, of roughly 3 to 4% year after year, when we look at 1998 through 2018, it actually kept up with inflation despite there being such a large drop. That brings us to the next slide, which is sort of the bad news of the presentation. And it's just that the next 10 years, the next 20 years or so, the longer term view is not projected to be like the last 20 years for several reasons, which we're going to cover. Do these numbers annually, so this is their most current figures, and this is pre-corona virus and pre kind of high unemployment and certain numbers we're seeing now, which is where definitely going to affect them. So here we see equities, and we see that they're roughly expected to return by AQR in the next 5 to 10 years, 4 to 5%, which is below the long-term average that you've probably heard in the 8% range. Some people say as high, depends on the index and what time frame you're looking at. It could be as high as 10%. Some people will say 6% as what you could expect. Typically, investors or retail investors, high net worths, ultra high net worths or not, are in some sort of stock and bond portfolio. So when we think about this issue and what's being done, it's largely being ignored. There's certainly things that institutions have been doing and are doing, but retail investors and even the professional advice that retail investors are getting, seems like this issue is being largely ignored from what I've seen firsthand. Again, thank you. This is a fairly new medium for us, where something like this would typically be handled via conference call or some sort of article or social media post. But we really like the webinar and the live aspect, the being able to ask questions and multiple people here. Sometimes an individual will ask a question that somebody else didn't ask, but they wanted to know the answer to. So I really do like to engage. That being said, anybody in the chat right now, anybody who has questions, this is the time.